Brent, I'm John.
John, pleasure.
Nice to meet you. Feisty Stars.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
What do you do? What do you do in the band?
Play guitar.
Oh, you're a guitarist. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're here at Warped Tour in the state of New Jersey, and we can't say the venue because of labor laws.
What's that?
Apparently, I said this before in an interview, we were told at the door not to mention where we were in New Jersey. Like, we can mention we were in Homedale, New Jersey. We cannot mention...
Tell them the location.
The venue.
Can we give them our longitude and latitude?
Absolutely. If you know it, might as well.
I wish I knew it.
Yes.
But I don't.
But if you like to put money into a certain savings or a checking account, you might do it with this.
With said financial institution.
Yes. There's so many stupid, crazy rules.
You know, they come and go out here. You know, one day it's cool to do something, the next day it's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how do you figure it out? You don't. You just pay attention to the email that you get in the morning, and hopefully you don't break any rules.
Yes. If not, then Twitter will hear about it.
Oh, among many other sources.
God. How long have you been with the band, with Icy Stars?
We started the band in 2005.
05, wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think the first time I saw you guys. It was a Bamboozle. I want to say 2010?
10, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, we did. I think we did 2 years in a row. It was probably 2010, 2011, something like that.
Yeah, you were on the main stage. I think you were like first on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember that shit.
It was cool. It was a time.
To be alive.
Yes, as the kids would say.
As Aubrey Graham has once quoted.
Or lit AF, as the kids would also say on Twitter.
Oh, I actually didn't know lit AF was a thing.
Yeah, lit AF.
Which is lit as fuck. let's just fucking say it. Why not? We're not an edited podcast. We just say whatever the fuck comes to our minds.
Perfect.
Exactly.
I'm on the right show.
You're goddamn right. So any of the 7 dirty words Carlin has came up with, you could say.
Excellent.
Yes. So if I call you a number 5, there you go.
And then,
we're
in this together. I get it.
But anyways, you're on the Warped Tour for, this is like, you're on there for quite a while, right?
How do you say balls deep?
I believe balls deep is the correct.
Yes.
But yeah, what number of years is this for you guys?
3.
3.
Yeah.
All right. Seems like you've been on it a lot longer. Like,
you know,
it seems like almost every line. Yeah.
It's like dog years out here.
The
The
summer
regular
days.
years. Yeah,
Yes. Exactly.
It's great though. It's you know, it's an amazing tour to be a part of, and in every corner there's something interesting going on.
Absolutely.
You know, I could be at home just taking a nap right now, but instead I'm out here doing an interview with a couple badasses, you know?
Absolutely. Wishing you were taking that nap right now.
Yes, exactly.
Let's call a spade, all right? So you guys actually came out with Treehouse, right?
Yes,
Your latest
sir.
album?
Yep.
And the first one without the screamer, I forgot his name, Devin?
Zach.
Devin is in the band. Gotcha.
Yes.
How's the reception for that going so far?
You know, I think it's going well. I like that the people that are listening to it, they're actually listening to it. They're going in and figuring out what they do like about it, and complimenting all the right things, and also kind of telling us what they liked about other records. And it's you know, it's cool to hear them like I said, like really listening to this record and giving it a chance. And I've even had someone be like, you know, I didn't really like it at first, but I kept listening, and now I really like certain songs.
So it's a grower, just like a tree.
Exactly.
And then once you got the tree grown, you put the house there.
Exactly. And then you live there. I don't know.
I mean, there are some badass tree houses, though.
Oh, there's probably the most badass tree houses. Maybe when I get older, I'll get my dope tree house.
As long as you don't have a man cave. I think less of a person, like less of a man, if they have a space called the man cave.
Of course.
Yes.
I don't know what I would call my space, my man space.
How about your entire fucking house?
Yeah, exactly. My house is a bachelor pad, so I'm single, so it'll definitely be man cave-ish, but it'll be the whole house.
Yeah.
It'll be the whole house. We'll have the pole in the kitchen, you know. Nothing to see here, folks.
Eggs and legs.
Yeah. Oh, bed and breakfast, baby.
Oh,
You're
yes.
more than welcome anytime.
Done the Icy Stars away.
Now, would you have that pole going from the upstairs to the downstairs?
Yes,
Fireman
I would
style?
have a hole in the ceiling so they could commute
Swimming
to the
pool
master bedroom to the kitchen.
Swimming pool in every room.
Yep, that was me, folks.
I don't know. I kind of feel like the man cave should be. I guess it's kind of lame, but like it's the music room. Like you just don't say anything. It's just the music. You got your shit in it.
I agree. There should be an old beat up Tama drum set in the corner and a couple Marshalls around, and just for shits and gigs. You get a couple drinks in and your buddy wants to jam. Let's do it.
Got a laptop, some recording
Oh
equipment.
yeah,
just to
exactly. You
write
might
some tunes and stuff.
accidentally record "Don't Stop Believing." Like, whoops, I made a hit. My bad. You got to set yourself up for that kind of thing.
Now, do you guys do that while on tour? Do you record, have like a mobile thing going? Or?
Some of the guys stay up just way too late for their own good, and they sit on their computers and make music, constantly making music. I'll be honest, I don't do that as often. When I go home, we have a studio at the house. We have basically a frat house with basically the whole band living there. And I'll go down there, and a couple times actually we have this fake band, and we hook it up to the computer, and everybody gets their own instruments, so like 2 guitars and a bass, and like set up a drum machine on the keyboard, and we just all sit there and just smoke stuff, and
I like that. Wink, wink.
and we jam. We just sit there and jam for like an hour, and my preferred instrument is the bass guitar, and I like to get funky on that whenever I get the chance. We'll slap the bass, play it real high.
I mean, dude,
Literally the bass high, not play it high. You know what I'm saying?
according to Disturbed, I mean that's how the best songs are made. Is you're sitting there smoking it up, and then you're just playing music, and then just something happens to hit. And
That's
you take
exactly how it goes. We do this thing where everyone just starts noodling around for a little bit, and then you're kind of like, okay. Then somebody plays something, you go, loop that. Let's do that one. And then you just start seeing everybody start moving. You're like, yeah, this is turning into something.
So how many times did you end up becoming sober and you're like listening back, you're like, do we like this?
Every time. It's all up from there, though. It's all up from the morning. You can work on it from there, but
Absolutely.
you gotta let it flow. Just whatever happens. That's something with our band, is that we don't go into writing and have this. We don't have the end result prepared.
Yeah.
The end result just kind of creates itself the further we get into writing.
Well, it's more
a song.
organically, the better, more or less.
Exactly, and that's important to us as artists and as dudes in bands. Like we want to keep it organic. We want it to sound that way and feel that way, and I'd give that credit. I'd credit that for the reason why this band is even stuck around. We weren't some band that just sounded like some other band, so here we are on tour with a band that sounds like that band. No, it's like, we had this organic thing, like even just socially, we've been friends forever, and it's just a very real thing. And then our musical interests and tastes and writing and all that stuff, just comes, And like I said, we don't have this giant end goal every time we go to write a song. We're like, we're going to write an EDM rock song. It's like, no.
So with the quantity of songs differ between each record?
Absolutely. There's been records where we've had to write 3 more songs in the studio.
Oh, wow.
Freaking out, oh my gosh, what do we do? Just pull songs
Missing
out of our
deadlines,
asses?
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you know what? It worked, I guess. But this record, we had a lot of songs to pull from. A lot of ideas that we were able to combine. We do that a lot too, where we're like, okay, this idea is in the same key as this one, so let's see if we can mash these two together and make it a new idea, a fresh idea.
Yeah.
So we, like I said, we're constantly writing. So it's content is not usually an issue for us, and especially not on this last record.
Absolutely. Wow.
So now are you one of those bands that has 30 to 100 songs and you kind of pick the best, or how does that work?
They're not songs,
Or just
per se.
riffs and ideas.
Yes, lots and lots of riffs, and it's funny. I've had songs that I've been working on for months or even over a year, and you just gotta catch these guys in the right mood. They're walking by and they go, "Wait a minute, what is that?" And I go, "Motherfucker, I showed this to you 6 months ago, and you just kind of gave me this shoulder shrug.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
now you want to work on this idea?
Motherfucker, this is my solo
This
project
is my
now.
solo. Yeah, I'm taking this one. No, but we, yeah, like I said, we're constantly writing and constantly combining ideas, old ideas, new ideas. You know, we like to keep the opportunities endless, you know, and keep them colorful and creative, and that kind of stuff's really important to us. And maybe it's working. We get invited back to this kind of stuff, so I think we're just going to keep doing
working.
what we're doing, and you know, see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy to think like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, like if you said you were an Icy Stars fan, they're like, ugh, like you were part of that whole like neon movement.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And like you got out of it. Like so many bands are like we're stuck into it. Like Forever the Sickest Kids, like they're no longer around. Well,
Yeah.
that whole Rolex thing. Let's not even go there, but
It's easy to look in the mirror and feel stupid because not everyone is behind what you're doing, maybe.
Yeah.
And when, you know, fads and scenes and all that kind of stuff comes into play, you're like, okay, what do I really want to be a part of? You know, for us, we are in some way credited for pioneering some type of genre.
Oh, absolutely,
Or,
yeah.
you know, combining elements that people weren't doing, you know, even back in the day and even till now. It's like, you know, one might say like, oh, it's electronic core, dubstep, metal, like all these really like left side, right side.
add a core, add a melodic to it.
Yeah, exactly, and they think they know what they're talking about, but the reality is like we're dudes that produce music electronically, and we're also dudes who know how to do analog shit. I plug my guitar right in, turn it up to 11, fucking record it, and that's it. It's printed on tape. The end. You know, like
Exactly.
We know how to jam out, and we truly are influenced by the type of music that we play. So we like to bring as much of the realness from that as we can into what we do. Thus, we're not embarrassed by it. We're not like, oh my gosh, we're like sounding like this band because they're doing it, and now we just kind of feel silly because we looked back a year later and like, man, that was kind of silly.
Yeah.
Truth is, we don't give a shit. We're just going to keep writing
As you
records.
shouldn't, no.
And if they want to hate us and get offended and say that we did them all wrong, like, okay, I'm sorry. However, we're going to keep writing records, and I promise you there's going to be a song somewhere down the line where you're like, okay, that's the Stars I like, you know. And that's okay that they feel that way. And some people love it all. They'll fucking love every single thing we do. And that's good for them. But for the rest of the world, you know, they're a little bit more needy. They have something more specific they're looking for out of us, and borderline offended if we don't just do it for them. So,
But that's the problem. You can't create music to appeal to everyone.
no.
They'll
And
just
that's
drive
not
you
the
nuts.
goal.
Yeah, no.
Not the goal. I'm not trying to impress everybody.
No, fuck that.
You know, I'd much rather have a niche group of people that like us for us, and not saying to ourselves every day, well, how can we get more fans and the better fans and the bigger fans? Like, that's how you fucking go down a rabbit hole and end up imploding on yourself. Instead, we're more worried about writing records and writing songs and going on tour and showing up to the party instead of trying to be a part of somebody else's bullshit.
Yeah.
Create our own thing and take it for a walk, you know? Like, I'm not worried, like I said, about trying to impress everybody. We have awesome fans out there, and it's because we showed up and hand-delivered it to fucking A, B, C, and D markets across the world. You know, we've done that for the last 10 years now, and we're going to continue to do that and until I'm fucking dead or people stop listening. Like, I'm not going
So
anywhere.
basically, you're dead.
Yeah.
Because people are still going to listen.
Exactly. You know, the people will probably like the band more when I'm dead, but that's a different story altogether.
That's the best part, though. If one of you passes away, it seems like more people gravitate towards the band. Like a prime example would be Bayside. Like once Beats unfortunately passed away, it seems like they become like bigger and bigger and bigger.
I mean, Nirvana, like, let's be honest now, you know.
Sublime.
There was just Sublime. Like, those were love stories, but real life love stories and like dramatic like stories that people were like, shit, this is fucking crazy. Like,
Now, do you have a theory on Kurt Cobain?
I watched the
Soaked in Bleach?
Yes, I watched Soaked in Bleach, and it's provocative.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It touched on a lot of great points here.
Tons of great points that you
didn't think of
wouldn't
before.
know,
Exactly, yeah.
you know, and I think the key guy was the first guy that was talking to Courtney Love at first. I think his testimony, I think it's the most ooh, because you can see how uncomfortable he is. He ain't fucking lying. He ain't kidding. He ain't trying to just bash her because of, try to get some limelight. No, dude. He was like, this shit's weird.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't right, and so that was definitely an interesting thing to watch. I always like that kind of stuff,
You're into documentaries?
What's that?
You're into documentaries or like mystery type of deals? Or
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big movie like documentary, not like Netflix, or I never spend time doing that stuff, but when I do, I usually try to get something that's kind of gets me going a little bit, like, oh, wait a minute, what's up with that? So that was definitely a cool one to watch.
Yeah. You ever see that one, Dan?
Yeah. I think the good thing about stuff like that is not to say, all right, I watched this movie, she definitely killed him, is just to get you thinking,
Absolutely.
Like there could be another side of the story, then he just didn't kill himself.
There could be. Now there especially could be after that, you know? Because otherwise you're like, oh yeah, she's a bitch, she probably killed him, whatever. Now you're like, wait a minute, she might have been very much a part of that. Like, oh gosh, how terrible. Thank God I don't have a Courtney Love.
I know.
And I don't do heroin, so I'm doing good, I think. Yeah, 2 for 2.
It just stinks because Nirvana was a huge, awesome band, and it's crazy to think where they would be now, if they were still around.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't have the Foo Fighters.
Wouldn't have the Foo Fighters, and would
be.
we have the Nirvana that we know today is the real question.
Yeah, that is true. Because nowadays it would probably. I mean, certain bands don't, but it seems like a lot of bands, they have to change their music for press and like stuff like that.
And if they don't, they literally vanish. Bands out there, they fucking vanish.
Or they stay the same.
Terrifying.
One or the other.
Or they stay the same, and it's lukewarm, until they do club tours and put like 400 kids in a room.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, I guess, rare to see bands that do the same thing and that they're still popular.
Yeah. We're not fans of writing the same record. Probably because our musical interests just go from as far right to as far left as they can go, and we're just constantly ready to be like, how can we fucking fuck kids up now? Like, how we piss off the whole world? Let's do it in form of song.
Now before you said after you listened to it, you got used to it. So do you listen to your own records and you actually love the music that you play? Because I know John criticizes me for listening to our music.
That's it's a funny question. So at the beginning, I listened to our first record all the time. Listen to 3D, like that was my jam, like a jammed stars. Like I had to love what we were doing, and I really did because it was the blend that we created based on what we loved, and it spoke to me, and it was awesome. I remember somebody told me they saw an interview or something with Brandon Flowers with the Killers, and I think they asked him something similar, and he was like, that's my favorite record is fucking Hot Fuss. Like, that's what I jam.
Wow.
Like that's his record, So I think that it's important to like what you do. Although nowadays I don't as much because, I don't know, I find a lot of weird shit to get into, and my guys are constantly flipping the page of what's next and who's doing what and who's a part of this song, and there's just so much out there that I spend a lot less time probably even listening to music, unfortunately, just being on the road and being busy and stuff. But I don't spend too much time listening to the record after the fact. Once we put these records out, it's kind of like, okay, we're ready to write a whole new record. But there are some songs on this record that are maybe some of my favorites that we've ever written. So that's nice to be able to say after all this time, still writing songs and making music that is continuing to grab my own attention. And being in this band, it's not like there's one guy that just does everything and then the singer sings on it. It's like everyone adds so much to each song. Some people work on songs that I haven't even touched. Like, I've had some guys write guitar that they got to teach me the part. Like, and that's okay because I want to see the record be the best thing that it can be. So I'm always impressed by these guys. They really do impress me. Andrew and Devin, I think those guys are really fantastic writers and listeners, and I think they've got Andrew especially has really an eclectic taste in all types of music, and he's got a very, I don't know, I've never been able to like replicate what he does. I don't know what it is, but he's got a way with his music, and he continues to inspire me on the daily. So
wow,
I don't know.
I mean, that's great. You have to continue to inspire. Like,
yes,
you can't just be, let's say, a metalcore band and just keep listening to the same Killswitch Engage album or this album or that. You got to keep like branching out there.
Absolutely, and I think that being an artist should be about that kind of. If you play metal, that's great, but how can you tell the same story in a different way?
Yeah,
it's kind of the theory there. In today's music, drums, guitar, and bass is just ain't gonna cut it for us.
Nah.
So that's why we bring in so many of the electronic elements, and like I said earlier, so many of these people just put you in these categories that they just invent. But the reality is, like, we aren't just like some dubstep metal smash band. Like these elements are actually purposeful. They're tasteful. There's a lot of stuff that people can't put their finger on because it isn't about that one sound. It's about 6 sounds that create something else. Yeah. We try to keep things deep. I like a deep mix. Like I liked, just layers and sounds and just little trinkets in the background that really make a full song or just make a deep song. Like, even just when you're listening to it, you're able to listen to it 10 times, and on that 10th time you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't hear that. And you listen 10 more times, exactly. There's that harmony, there's that weird synth that's harmonizing with the harmony. Like, these are all things that we think about when we're writing songs and try and kind of subliminally put them in there, so people are like, why does it sound like this? Why don't my records sound like this? Well, because you don't have a fucking clue what we're doing. Yeah. And that's how we like it.
So you're just creating a pound cake while you're doing like a 6-tier wedding cake.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Exactly.
But yeah, shit. I love these kind of interviews where we would just sit down and talk. We had a couple interviews before where they're like kind of itching, like, talk about our band. I'm like, look, why don't you just sit down and have a fucking conversation? Like that's what we've been doing.
It's funny when our tour manager was like, hey, we got press at 4:30, and he was telling Devin, and Devin usually does the press. Yeah. Obviously, fucking lead singer, and they want to talk to him. Of course, that's great. Yeah. It's great to talk to. However, he had something to do, so I was like, I'm bored. Let's go do some fucking press. So, guys, feel free. We're just hanging now. I love it.
We were talking about this before, because we were in bands too, and I'm like, dude, I'm the drummer. Like, we were going to do Whitechapel, and they canceled. I'm like, dude, if I was the drummer of Whitechapel, I'm not, so I don't know how it is for them, but I'd be like, dude, lead singer can't do it, fuck it, I'll do it, I want to get our band's message and shit out there just as much as the lead singer does, I guess people don't see that, that want to interview the lead, guy. So it's just cool to be interviewing a guitar player, you know?
And if somebody was like, oh my gosh, I want to talk to Devin, I'd be like,
fuck you,
off.
You got me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, listen, I've been in the band too, so I'll be able to tell you.
You want to talk to Devin? Tweet at him, all right?
Yeah, you want to talk to Dev? Tweet at him. Otherwise, here I am. Let's go.
Are you? Do you have a personal Twitter on?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I don't use it often. I just use it to say like something stupid once in a while.
Buy our album.
I
like cheesecakes.
Yeah, more like I like cheesecake. I don't like to be the guy who's constantly just like a fucking walking billboard. I like to try to let the records do that for us.
Yeah.
I want people to listen to the tunes because they like it, not because they think I'm cute. Even though I'm not that cute, Devin's cute. He does all the cuteness stuff for us, so that helps. It allows me not to be the guy to do that.
So you're not the one like in the background taking selfies randomly?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, all right.
Very rarely will you catch me snapping a selfie. I do. I just got Snapchat. I do the daily shotzo, and the shotzo is me and just looking fucking rocked. Like, fuck. Well, that's it. That's all you get out of me. You can see that on my story.
Yeah, what is up with Snapchat? I mean, obviously we got to get it as a media publication or whatever the fuck you want to call
Gotta
us.
have it.
Yes, gotta. I mean, look, I just figured out Twitter. Now here's Snapchat. I'm like, what the fuck?
You know, I boycotted it for the longest time. Every once in a while, guys would be like, dude, you need to get a Snapchat. I'm like, no, I don't.
Why?
Yeah, why? Like, I don't like taking pictures of myself or the dumb things that go on.
Here's the bus. Here's myself.
Yeah,
Done.
exactly. I like to be the behind the scenes guy, and
It's like a bit of mystery to you a little bit, too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to put my whole life out there. I don't think it's cool. You know, like I think the question I would say is like, what would Roger Waters' fucking Instagram look like? Probably not. It would probably wouldn't have set times every day. It probably wouldn't be selfies every day. Like, probably just be some black and white picture of the forest with some crazy lyric that.
Now the question is, if he was still around, what would Sid Barrett's Instagram look like?
God, I couldn't even tell you. See, we could go for days. Like, what would Jimi Hendrix's thing look like?
Yeah.
Like, seriously though, these guys
Just
didn't
think of,
give
like,
a shit about saying, "Hey guys, come check out our tour." Like, come on, dude.
The Star Spangled Banner at Woodstock. You better be there to catch
Yeah,
it.
exactly. You better be there to check out the Star Spangled Banner about to play at Woodstock. Yeah. You know, maybe his agent would tweet that for him, but I don't think Jimmy would be worried about that. I think he'd be worried about that damn instrument and getting to Woodstock on time, you know, and being able to stand on his feet from tripping peyote for 3 days. I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. Wasn't he the one where he had the headband, but he would put like tabs of acid in there, and apparently that worked?
Yeah, I think he's onto something. I might have to try that out and see what type of results we get. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no, please don't.
I'll probably have a good chat with afterwards from corporate. And I do not want that. So.
Yeah, about that, we don't like that.
We don't like that.
We do not approve of
you got
drug
naked,
paraphernalia.
You got naked in the middle of your set today. That's not okay. That's illegal. You owe us $10,000, and you're off the tour.
You helped the crowd surfer that looked like Winnie the Pooh. We're not down
Maybe
with that.
a little less that, a little more keep your clothes on and just play your instrument and get off stage on time. That'd be great. Thank you.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So what is it that you actually do around here?
Saw your schlong. That's not okay.
Hey, band members get kicked out of bands for that shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's actually a few bands on this tour, which I'm not going to get into, but should definitely happen with them.
Yeah, it's part of life, right? Or whatever.
Is it that?
For some people, I guess. I've been fortunate enough to be in a band with guys who are incredibly conscious. They're incredibly mild-tempered. They're the best. That I can never worry about these guys doing weird shit. Like,
Because it's a business also.
oh, it's incredibly a business, and we take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And you know, it's important to us to stay in between the lines, and you know, especially being on a tour like Warped Tour. It's like they invented the rules to their tour, and we got invited to it, so we're gonna play along with those rules so that we can be a positive influence on this tour and to hopefully to our peers and, you know, to Warped Tour as well. Like, we really respect what they're doing out here, and we think that this is an amazing thing to be a part of. And, you know, so whatever that means, we're going to do more of that.
Absolutely.
Less peyote, more rule following.
Yes. Wasn't there, and feel free to not answer this, wasn't there something that happened a couple of years ago with Warped Tour and Icy Stars?
Absolutely. In fact, today was a show that we didn't play because some stupid shit that, you know, was actually not totally our fault. But, you know, when one piece of the team goes down, you all go down.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you learn that the hard way. And
you're only as strong as your weakest link.
That's it.
Unfortunately.
Exactly. And, you know, hence we have, you know, we dropped some members, and, you know, it just made it easier to manage. You know, less responsibility spread thin, and more like, straight to the point.
Yeah.
So I think my dudes are ready to go here, so I'm going to follow them out. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Anything you want to plug real quick besides get Treehouse?
Treehouse, get that.
Get that shit.
All right, guys, thank you.
All right, thanks, man.